Welcome to Breakfast Central on a Friday. Yay! TGIF. But I'm sad.
You are lying.
Oh, I'm sad. In the words of famous Benga Borowa, I mean, I wish we could do this show for like 7 days.
I don't wish, please. You guys stop lying.
I feel so sad.
No, that was before. Now we're winding down to the end of the year.
Honestly,
let's do our
job and go. We've gotten to the end of the year, and before we get into the rant, the proper introduction. If this is your first time joining us on Breakfast Central, I don't know where you've been, but we're glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us. My name is Olive MOD, and you're welcome to the most incredible breakfast show in the world.
Yes.
That's right.
And I'm Benga Borowa. You're surrounded by 2 kings and 1 queen. That's what you call blackjack in poker.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're welcome. You know what that means. We're a winning team. We bring you everything you need, the vibes, you know, the intelligence, the looks. We're serving looks too, you know, as Gen Zs will say, we're serving everything. And of course, the insightful information and knowledge. I mean, you can't watch Breakfast Central without learning a thing or two every day. And that's one thing I pride this amazing team for. Welcome to the show.
You've spoken well, Benga, and I appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you,
I appreciate
my
you, my sister, as well.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you for watching. My name is Joe Hansen. We're going to start off the show right away with our very first story.
Before you get into the first story, appreciating Benga, appreciating me, and appreciating our audience.
Yes.
I should have told the director, cue in appreciation.
Adupe.
But first of all, before we get into the story, please, can we rant a little again about the state of traffic in Lagos and how everybody go back to your country. Go back to
even
your
the coastal road. There's a 6-lane express road block is experiencing traffic because of indiscipline of Nigerians. There's a lane that says
I agree.
There's a lane that is for going, there's another lane for coming. But you see when you're moving towards the Lekki area, there's still traffic coming to VI on the same lane, and it applies to both lanes. So I don't understand. It's just madness.
Control spoiled.
Benga just highlighted it's indiscipline. Yesterday I was stuck on the island for a long while, and guess what? It was just about each driver just waiting for the next person to just pass. Then it's your turn, you pass. But it wasn't like that. And my worry is there was a press conference or press release from Lagos State where they mentioned that they would deploy a lot of traffic
extra because of the volume
but I'm not seeing them in strategic locations.
Lagos State sometimes their press conference, their press statements just
man, goodness gracious.
Once the ink dries on the paper, that's it. They don't take action.
Is something else.
So
around what time was this?
This was just around 3 o'clock.
What time do you experience your traffic?
Well, the truth is, I experienced traffic at every time. On our way to work this morning, there was already traffic.
From 12?
As early as 5, 6 a.m., there's already traffic. Well, maybe not as intense as later in the day, but you can see the roads are extraordinarily busy, busier than usual. On the way back, what would typically take me 40 minutes took me 2 hours. So it's just really
and the economic cost implications to it. Your time, the fuel you're burning, because you're spending extra money on fuel.
A lot of money on fuel, and just even the discomfort. And like I said, now it's a terrible time for your car to get bad. And I feel like this December has been about me and my car getting bad.
Olive, this is God telling you that it's time for that upgrade, and you can do it.
I do. I need fun.
You can do it. You can do it.
If you stop eating chin-chin, you can save some of that money and put it towards it.
Let's move to our conversation now, since Benga has decided to turn the show to Breakfast with 1,000 Laughs. Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tugar met with Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister in Ouagadougou yesterday to address the detention of a Nigerian aircraft. The aircraft was held after Burkina Faso authorities had said that, you know, they violated airspace regulations, a move that had sparked diplomatic tensions between the two nations. During the meeting, both sides discussed ways to resolve the issue and restore the normal aviation operations. And of course, there were pictures from the meeting, the QR code embedded in documents presented by Burkina Faso, which many interpreted as signaling the release of the aircraft. Now, the discussions are seen as a pivotal step in easing bilateral tensions and ensuring that international aviation protocols are respected. Let's take a look at this video and we'll come back to share our thoughts.
First of all, I'm leading a delegation sent here by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Tout d'abord, je conduis une délégation envoyée par le président Bola Ahmed Tinubu, président de la République fédérale du Nigeria, afin de livrer un message au président Ibrahim Traoré. Un message de fraternité, un message de solidarité d'un pays africain à un autre. Nous avons discuté de plusieurs sujets en lien avec la sécurité de notre région, en l'occurrence la lutte contre le terrorisme, sur la manière dont nous...
Delegation Yusuf Tugar has met with Burkina Faso.
That's their own station. That's
their friend.
Burkina Faso National TV.
Yeah.
And it's good that we took it from that angle as well, because, sorry to butt in Olive, there were rumors that they had already released them from last week. And then mistakenly or coincidentally, one of the dailies had taken that same rumor that they had been released up until we saw this. And this is also a clarification that they weren't. It had to take the Minister of Foreign Affairs to get there in a meeting they had. I mean, there are pictures. I don't know if we have those pictures. Those pictures are everywhere. The pictures where they met, they sat down, had conversations, and so on and so forth.
I mean, just to mention again, for those who are not aware of the full story, in case, you know, they were on their way to Portugal when they said that they had to take an emergency landing due to technical issues. And then they landed in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso classified this unauthorized landing as an unfriendly act because they did not give Nigeria the permission to land within their airspace. They call for all countries to respect neighboring countries' airspaces. And of course, mainly because Burkina Faso is no longer a part of the ECOWAS. Burkina Faso is now a member of the Sahel states. And because the AES now runs a military government, they do not subscribe to our democratic rule. I wouldn't call that a rule, but yes, our democratic government, since they're now in the military rule. So, of course, the response...
And they're highly suspicious
of every action.
Yeah,
it feels like, are you coming to monitor us? Are you coming to flex muscles? Especially because Nigeria had sent forces to Niger, the Republic of Benin, when Benin had their coup. Now, you can see the tweet by Honorable Yusuf Toga. He says, Nigeria continues to prioritize dialogue and regional cohesion in its engagement across West Africa. I led a high-level Nigerian delegation to Burkina Faso on behalf of the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to convey his message of solidarity to President Ibrahim Traoré and engage on shared regional priorities. The visit allowed us to review pathways for strengthening Nigeria-Burkina Faso relations and advancing regional integration. Through sustained dialogue, we also resolved the matter concerning Nigerian Air Force pilots and crew, reaffirming the effectiveness of diplomacy in addressing sensitive issues. It feels like this tweet reflects that the initial priority was to solidify Nigeria-Burkina Faso relations.
Yes. I mean,
and then at the end, you now say the visit allowed us
the release
to secure the release.
Airmen. Yes. So it's killing two birds with one stone.
Right.
And it's good. I mean, you can make all the noise you can, and this could have gone south if it were some other country. So I mean, I must commend the federal government for applying wisdom and using diplomatic channels to find a solution to this impasse between the Burkinabe government and the Nigerian government with regards to the C-130 grounded in Bobo Dioulasso. Information reaching us now is that the Air Force men are on their way to the mission in Portugal. So at the end of the day,
they were initially on their way to,
yes, which
when they had emergency landing.
I mean, lessons have been learnt. There are certain protocols. You respect people's airspace, and everybody lives happily ever after. No shot was fired, and they were even able to discuss more issues with regards to bilateral relations between Burkina Faso and Nigeria. And I listened to an interview of Ambassador Yusuf Tuga a few weeks ago, and he said, look, Burkina Faso is not an enemy, Niger is not an enemy, we still interact on diplomatic level. We might have our differences, but we need to work together towards dealing with the problems of terrorism in the Sahel region, which also affects Nigeria. So, good one there from my side.
Anyway, let's see what Nigerians are saying about this, and let's see if they have any, if they have a different thought concerning the situation that did take place in Burkina Faso.
I'm sure they will. Trust
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will be.
Nothing is ever black or white.
Unlike what Michael Jackson sang black or white.
Mega Mixer says, foreign policy success is measured by the stability of regional norms and institutions. By treating the release of NAF crew members as a diplomatic breakthrough, the government inadvertently admits that basic military and diplomatic protocols between Nigeria and Burkina Faso have eroded.
So, Mr. Mega Mixer, how would you rather have it?
Okay, we'll come back to him. Salih Ubilo says, while high-level delegations and dialogues showcase diplomacy, one wonders why resolving sensitive issues abroad is sometimes swifter than addressing systemic inefficiencies within our own institution at home. That's a good one. This is
food for thought in case you haven't had breakfast.
You know, you wonder what's really going on with certain things, especially when it's back home. Nigerians have complained about the fact that you have insecurity that's bedeviling the country, the nation, especially in the Middle Belt, the North, and now it's spreading all across the Southwest and so on. And then there has been no action, especially to quell. But then again, when it comes to the diplomatic process or ensuring that things are done from the ECOWAS point of view, Nigerians are saying, see how swift it was to get into Benin Republic.
Maybe it's you have to give kudos to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the minister. They are very proactive and they understand their game. If every other institution and minister apply the same
so like which of the ministries are you talking about?
I'm not calling names, but they know themselves.
You have to call names,
to their work and their duties and responsibilities. Maybe Nigerians will be saying.
I mean, the minister of
like that. A Mega Mixer. I don't know what Mega Mixer wants. So, are we fighting war? Are we comparing? My muscle is bigger than your muscle. The airmen are on their mission to Portugal. Everybody was smiling. The crisis has been resolved. So, what is we yielded to Burkina Faso? Mr. Mega Mixer. Go to
look at me. You can talk to
Mr. Mega Mixer. Go to where they are selling bangers, December period. Knock out, then throw it from where you are to Burkina Faso. Maybe that will make you happy. It will do pow pow. Because I don't understand my brother and my sister.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's move away from that story. Good news and kudos to the federal government. It's good to take swift action, and it's also good to know that all the false stories that was in circulation have actually been put to rest. Eventually, we now know that they have been officially released, and that's exactly what we've gotten. But let's move on to another one. This story is what we call a Friday story. Now, in a move that has caught many by surprise, the Ghana Police Service has warned that denying sexual intimacy in marriage could lead to prison sentence. Binga, open your ears.
I'm not from Ghana.
Of up to 2 years. Authorities say the law is designed to protect marital rights and ensure the welfare of spouses, emphasizing that sexual denial within marriage is now treated as a serious offense. The announcement has already sparked debate in social and traditional media, with many weighing in on the tricky balance between personal freedom, marital obligations, and legal enforcement. Couples are being urged to resolve disputes amicably, but this directive clearly signals that the authorities are taking marital rights very, very seriously. And this is what is happening in Ghana. But guess what? Nigerians are calling for it to come to Nigeria, especially in the comment section.
Let's take a listen to the Ghanaian police authorities. Because a lot of people will still be doubting that, no, this news can't be true.
Well, I don't know if we have the video, but let's see if we have the video.
I don't know that I'm not sure that we have the video.
But if we don't have the video,
but just to explain, right?
We do have some information.
What has happened is that there's a senior police officer in Ghana, Assistant Commissioner of Police Dennis Fiapui. He told the Ghana News Agency that deliberately withholding sexual intimacy from his spouse in a way that causes emotional distress can be treated as emotional abuse under Ghana's Domestic Violence Act 2007, Act 732. If such emotional abuse is proven in court, the law allows for penalties of up to 2 years imprisonment upon conviction. So I think what they're driving at is, first of all, this is not a new law. This reminds me of what happened in Delta State, you know, when they all of a sudden brought up an existing law and decided to explain an existing law that policed how women dressed. But bringing it back here, this law has always been in existence, but they've never really paid as much attention. And now the police is highlighting that. And what they're trying to point at is not necessarily about the sexual intimacy, but that whatever action you do that causes your partner emotional distress, you can go to jail for it. The Domestic Violence Act covers it. There's economic abuse, namely the deprivation or threatened deprivation of economic or financial resources, which a person is entitled to by law, the disposition or threatened disposition of movable or immovable property in which another person has a material interest. Then there's the emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse, namely any conduct that makes another person feel constantly unhappy, miserable, humiliated, ridiculed, afraid, jittery, or depressed, or to feel inadequate or worthless. So the question now is, how do we decide what actions, you know, and if this action is strong enough to constitute, and the fact that Benga might think it's not much of a big deal now, but to Joe it is an incredibly big deal. The courts will decide. So I don't think that this is new, and even in Nigeria, I think we have similar laws. It's just that not every state has domesticated the Violence Against Persons Act.
The penalty is counterproductive, because if you lock up a spouse,
won't the person feel depressed?
Exactly. For 2 years, you are depriving unless you allow conjugal visits in Ghanaian
So it's not just so the thing is things like a partner constantly. I'm thinking of
the headline says intimacy. That's what we're.
No, but intimacy is not just about it. But let's bring it back to intimacy. Here in Ghana, they're looking at the fact that if you deprive your partner constantly, because I mean, you married folks can testify to the fact that in some marriages, there's some people that are living as partners, they're just cohabiting. There's no form of intimacy. And that can work, and that's okay if both partners are on the same page. However, if one partner is not on the same page, then it becomes a problem according to this law. Because if one other partner says, no, you can't deprive me, this is why I'm married, you should be able to give me such rights, you can then take them to court and they would have to face the law. However, you then go to global crimes, and you know, in keeping up with modern best practices, you will see that in the West, those things are an issue, and sexual intimacy should involve consent. That's another conversation. In marriages,
why must everything global best practices come from the West?
I'm just giving an example of what happens in the West, and then we'll compare to what happens here, right? So in the UK, in America, there is something called marital rape, which here, for example, in Nigeria, our laws don't expressly provide for. So there's something called marital rape, where if your partner decides that they don't want to be intimate with you and you force them, you have raped them. In Nigeria, however, that's not the position. In Ghana, then this might, so I don't know if this would exclude marital rape, because if one partner refuses and the other partner forces the person and then claims that they were causing them emotional distress, I don't know if you see where I'm coming from. So it's a bit of a dicey.
I wonder if the Ghanaian police, they don't
It's gender neutral.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm talking about it in terms of gender aspect. I'm talking about in terms of execution, the balance.
Exactly.
I'm very worried about this law. And I'm worried because some people will see this as a piecemeal. It's an opportunity to be able to do what I've been willing to do. Trust me on that one. For some men, do you understand what I'm saying? It's a case of saying, okay, fine. See, we have to be very careful. There are stories and instances you hear where there's something called the plot. Somebody can actually sit down, and plot could come from either gender. Either it could be the male or the female. Okay, the male could plot that, okay, I want to end this relationship. So you start plotting from way back. You start forming, or you cause chaos in the house, scatter everywhere, and then you now wait to see, you know the reaction of this person because you know this person so well. You've stayed with this person for years, so you know how they will react to this issue. You use it against them, plot, and then you go straight to the police and say, oh,
it's causing emotional distress.
Yes.
This is
manipulative,
but I'm just
triggering behavior.
The other angle I'm looking at is how, you know, the Ghanaian police are not dealing with issues of banditry, terrorism. They have
They
so
don't
much
have
time.
They don't have such
They
problems.
don't have issues of tint permits, so therefore they can start highlighting.
They are not checking the tax reform again. So what is not saying they changed? Oh,
They don't have issues.
They're enjoying.
They don't have problem. But
Ghanaian police is almost like they're dealing with issues of Boy Scout, man of war type of crimes.
let the Ghanaian people come and answer for themselves. But
let's see what
the
Ghanaians are saying.
Exactly.
Our challenge.
Our opinion is minute in comparison
Shout out to our Ghanaian expatriate here, Moses.
All right. The light bringer Akiko says, wait. So saying no can land you in jail now. Emotional abuse is serious, yes, but this one sounds like someone misread the law and added a plot twist. Consent still matters, officer. So you see what I was saying to you earlier about the conversation of consent, even within marriage.
Very important.
Hey, one thing I believe, and I will always maintain that idea, is that the more laws we make, the less justice we will attain. Imagine a man rapes the wife, then the case gets to court, and he defends himself. See what I was saying? And he defends himself as she refused me sex, causing me emotional abuse. Thank you very much. That's a very valid, because this is what I brought this up earlier. The officer's quote is real, but the legal claim attributing this directly to the act is misleading or overstated. Denied sex might contribute to a broader pattern of abusive behavior in some cases, but it is not grounds for jail under the law as stated. Exactly. That was very simplistic. I believe that his explanation of that law was very simplistic. And who is the partner? Married or just relationship? Definitely married. It cannot be just relationship. Sorry. The law in that case does no fun. It does not apply to fornication.
Exactly. Of transport fare.
If I am Bako says, if you don't have a job, you are exempted.
I know these things.
If you're not married, you're exempted. But if you are married and you have a job, you'll understand that sex is not a fantasy in marriage. Just as eating good food is not a flex for rich people. I don't understand this one. If you don't agree, you are a kid 100%. I don't understand this tweet.
So what he's saying is, he said, if you don't have
if you are jobless, you shouldn't be thinking of intimacy.
But if you
if you're not married, you're exempted. He's saying,
if you are married and you have a job,
you understand that sex is not a fantasy in marriage, just as eating good. So what he's saying is, I get his point, and I will explain.
Sensei.
For if
Albert Einstein. You must explain.
No, what he's simply saying is, let me explain, like our friend says, the online banker. What he's just simply saying is, if you are busy, if you have a lot to do, it's not going to be a fantasy. And again, because you've been in it for years, it's not going to be what you are more. It's not a big deal where you're going to kill yourself over and so on and so forth. However, if both partners go busy and all that, they wouldn't really have that as if on the front burner to say, oh, because they are busy. Basically, that's what he's saying. But if you don't have, that's why I said, if you have a job, you wouldn't be focused on certain things. But if you don't have a job, you know, like they say, if you check, how did they put it that back then? They say those who are in poverty have more children or something like that because they have time for that. But if you're not, you're busy here and there. But anyway, that's the best way.
Well, I can't relate because I'm not here in that marital institution, so I don't understand how people rule. But I think as we wrap up the conversations this morning, it's sad that I'll be wrapping up on this sad note, talking about the Auchi fire, and there were a number of people who, thankfully, no lives were lost according to reports, but it was really sad. The Auchi fire. Police officers, it was reported that they arrived in time to disperse the crowd, scrambling to scoop free fuel. Just minutes before the truck exploded, 3 explosions occurred at Igbe Road, then at Igbo Shade area, and finally at the Auchi Okene Road. Properties worth millions were damaged, and it was, they said that some of the locals believed that it was a coordinated bomb attack, but that it wasn't. According to NEMA, no death was recorded, and however, 25 people, including a child, suffered varying degree burns, nose bleeding, head injuries, deep cuts and lacerations, and 11 have been discharged. The ownership of the truck remains undisclosed, but locals suggest the condition of the road contributed to the driver's loss of control, while again, some other locals still insist that it was a terrorist attack. Now, I want to point out something that I've talked about on the show over and over again, about when there's an accident. Because, unfortunately, this is the festive season and there will be accidents. We're not praying for, but even on our way to work this morning, we saw some accidents on Third Mainland Bridge. Your first response is not to try to scoop fuel. If there has been an accident, your first response is to try and help people and get away as far from the place as possible, then get NEMA, get whatever agencies, whatever agencies, required agencies, call emergency services, call 112 if you're in Lagos. Your first response should not be to go and scoop fuel. What is the worth of your life?
Exactly.
Is your life not worth more than those few liters of fuel? I don't know if you understand that in the process of trying to scoop fuel from an accidented...
It's highly volatile.
It's volatile. There could be an explosion and you will roast on the spot for nothing. For nothing. On the other hand, I understand that there's a huge level of poverty. Poverty reveals certain patterns, right? People are poor. People are trying to make ends meet. People don't know where their next meal will come from. So whatever avenue they have to make money, they make. Whatever you need to do legally to make money, please go ahead and do it. But let this be an appeal. Let us stop scooping fuel. Let us stop rushing to scoop fuel. It is dangerous to you. It is dangerous to people around you, because in the process of you scooping fuel, you're encouraging other people to do the same. When they see you scooping fuel, you're giving them more ideas. They will come and do the same thing. And at the end of the day, you're risking not just your life, but the lives of others who are involved in the action with you. Our hearts go out to the people who were affected, and we do hope that we have clearer information in the coming hours as to what happened and that there are no lives lost in this matter. Gentlemen, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. Let's go straight to our top stories for today. Well said, Olive, and we do hope that they will hear. My only question as we go to the top story is, the federal government and the Committee of the National Assembly had already called for a committee to look into the tanker explosion. Till today, we haven't gotten any report from the committee.